All right. So you'll see the title, but I'm going to come around to explaining that title. So the United States, or at least the Biden administration, has finally put a ban on Russian oil. Not surprising, really. But what's going to occur? Well, of course, people are going to shit their pants over the price of oil, this and that, and everything else. And of course, eventually, we're going to have talks of what's going to happen on July 4th, what's going to happen for St. Patty's Day. Well, St. Patty's Day comes first, obviously, but, you know, what's going to happen for these holidays? We have to be, this is what is promoted, right? I saw this embarrassing Cope video, of course. It's been a while since I mentioned him, so I'll mention him here now. Bo the Fifth Column and his pitiful sort of we need to work together bullshit. And his sort of you need to look out for your carbon footprint. You need to be carpooling, this and that, for the better part of America, you know? And it sounded like the pitiful bullshit that you would hear, the pitiful bullshit propaganda in the United States of we all need to work together. We got to work together to fight the Japs. And you remember, this is what's going to happen, I think, increasingly with Russia. Even though Russia does not really have the same threatening power, I would argue, that Japan or Germany did, they're going to be made into that. Now, of course, like I say, Russophobia and the Cold War type of stuff, that continues on. Of course, now instead of calling them commies, we call them fascists and Nazis. The game doesn't change. The words don't really change. It's all just perspective, really. But they're going to use images of World War II, like, donating, it's like the whole idea of like victory gardens, or, the idea of like using, you know, uh, wooden tires, this and that sort of thing, and other ways to save so that, we can fight them back home. The thing is that Americans don't see things that way. And, you hear this pitiful cope of just like, well, you can get more electric cars, this and that. It's all bullshit. The thing is, of course, prices are going to be raised. Of course, it's going to get worse in the US. And we expected it to get worse. And it will. It will. It already is. The thing is that you hear this pitiful cope of just like, we need to work together. Fuck you. Let me tell you that as an American. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck about my neighbor. I'm looking over at my jackass neighbor right now. The one who will, blaze music or whatever at like 12 o'clock at night or something and have arguments or whatever outside. Fuck you. Fuck my neighbor. Not literally, because no, I've seen those ugly gnomes over there, those ugly elven people. No. I'm just gonna tell you this truth. But the United States is the land of every man for themselves. That's why you have all the COVID stuff or all the, that sort of thing. The being against the mandates and whatnot. I want to be able to do what I want. It's the whole idea of America. The United States has always been, to a point anyway, an individualist society, right? This is the whole idea of, comparing societies, this and that. I mean, China, I'm sure, is like that to a certain degree as well, but it's more collectivist, right? And it's more of everybody understands it. And yeah, there are problems, and yeah, there are people that fight amongst each other, absolutely. But the United States is built on individualism. That's why, if you didn't like somebody, you just moved out and you moved further west. But now we're all kind of stuck. And now with gas prices the way they are, and, electric cars not really being as efficient as they should be, whether in power or in, chargeability or whatever, um, we're all just kind of stuck now, aren't we? You know, I think it's all a game, right? This is what leads to folks saying, about the Great Reset and about all this sort of other bullshit, of remaking the economy and retaking control of the world, right? It's hard to believe what sort of bullshit, what sort of propaganda you want to believe. But when I saw that video about Bo the Fifth Column by Justin King about like we need to work together and it's gonna be hard. You need to carpool with folks. You need to do that. It's all just pitiful bullshit to me. It's like Americans aren't gonna do that. Americans are gonna be like, fuck you. You know? Fuck you. We're gonna find a way. We're gonna make something out of corn liquor or something like that, right? Americans do not give a fuck. I'll tell you that right now. We don't. And I don't necessarily say that out of pride. I say that as a sense of America's always been that way. Every man for themselves. That's America for you. That's the United States. Make it on your own, you know? This whole idea of we need to work together or whatever. If we all work together or whatever, if the truckers' protests were actually about, truckers fighting for better pay or something like that, get fucked. If we all work together, no, it doesn't matter. At this point, like I say, as a fair amount of Americans are, I'm pretty black-pilled on it. I'm pretty black-pilled. I've come to the point where it's just like, who cares? Just let it burn. And I think that time may be coming a lot sooner than expected. I think there are a lot of folks who really think that this country is just going to hang on. And it's just like, no, I don't believe that. I really don't. When shit goes down, you know, I'll take care of my family the best that I can, my mom and dad. But outside of that, I'm going to do what I got to do. You know, this whole idea just, the United States continues to, try to LARP back to the greatest generation, right? The Second World War, because people can still remember that, right? They can still remember that propaganda. Plenty of boomers still remember that. Man, I remember my grandpa telling me about, when he was fighting on Tarawa, or I remember my grandpa telling me about being at Bastogne or something like that. Whatever fucking thing you want to say. It's a reason why the U.S. Army has, their dress uniforms are like World War II era that have been redone. It's just like it's all bullshit. I'm just gonna tell you that it's all bullshit at this point. The United States doesn't really, culturally speaking, and just as far as the people go, most people just don't give a fuck. They don't. They want to be able to move around this and that because that's what they were promised, right? But now you won't be able to because gasoline is such a high price. So you come to a point where you just say to yourself, just let it burn. Like I say, ultimately for me, I go to the Dollar General. At least I try to anyway. I go to the Dollar General. I try not to really go out and eat that much, although I have somewhat recently, but and I just avoid the bullshit. The economy is in a horrible, horrible condition. And who knows what the answer is going to be? I know I made the video about crypto bros being wrong. Who knows? Maybe crypto bros will prove us wrong. They'll prove us all wrong. Who knows? But at this point, like I say, I'm just numb. I think a lot of people feel that way. I'm at the point where it's just like I'm locked in my own little world of watching episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000 or watching something about politics, my few places where I do, like Sticks, Hex, and Hammer. You judge me as you want to and say, yeah, he's full of shit, he's a LARPer. But I think that he's somewhat, the LARP has somewhat gone away from him. He no longer, has his shirt unbuttoned, this and that. And now he's apparently going to have a child with his wife in the Netherlands. So, good for him. Can't hate on that. What I would say though is it's going to continue to get worse, and you have to realize is that not everybody's going to work together. They're not. Stop living in a fucking fantasy. Take what you can. Take what you can without being noticed. And just, realize who you fuck with and who you don't fuck with, in terms of how you make money and who you can take advantage of. Dare I put it that way? But there you go. As Mobb Deep said, survival of the fit, only the strong survive. When worst comes to worst, my peoples come first, etc., etc., But I think I've gone a bit too long. Honestly, I've given up on so much. The isms don't mean anything. The cope that people have on Twitter about what they're going to do doesn't matter whether it's left wing or right wing. They're not going to do anything. As long as they can talk shit and people can buy their books or, pay for their podcasts, then they don't give a fuck. And you're just going to be left holding the bag. For people like me, I feel that I've squandered a lot. Where it's just like, damn, I could have been saving money and, buying land, and now I'm just kind of stuck in this bullshit, Anywho, enough coping, enough being angry about it. Just do what you can and get in where you fit in. Anyway, that's all I got. Hopefully y'all enjoy that. See you later. Goodbye.